You ever hear about Jayden Carter? He grew up in a dusty part of Bakersfield, California, where the sidewalks cracked like the dreams people gave up on. Jayden wasn't special, at least not by how most people measured it. No straight A's, no trophies. Just a skinny kid with secondhand sneakers and a quiet kind of hunger that most people never noticed. He lived with his mom and his younger sister in a small 2-bedroom house. It was one of those neighborhoods where the streetlights flickered and nobody fixed them. His dad had been out of the picture since Jayden was 7, and his mom worked 2 jobs, nights cleaning offices and weekends serving at a diner just to keep food in the fridge. At 15, Jayden had a dream he barely knew how to explain. He told his Aunt Marlene one afternoon while sitting at her kitchen table. All he said was, "I think I want to be a businessman someday. Head at maybe start something. Be my own boss." She looked at him the way you look at a bug on the wall, annoyed that it's even there. "You?" She laughed. "You're dumb, Jayden. You'll never earn a damn thing. Some folks just ain't cut out for more." It hit him like a punch to the ribs. He didn't talk back, he didn't cry, he just nodded like he understood. But something inside him cracked wide open. Not in defeat, no, not that. More like ignition. That night, back in his room, Jayden stared at the ceiling until 3 a.m. while his little sister snored softly on the mattress beside him. His heart beat with something between anger and clarity. She didn't believe in him. Fine. Nobody had to. He'd learned to believe enough for all of them. Over the next few years, he became obsessed, not with money, but with learning. He watched YouTube videos, read free business PDFs on his busted-up phone, even followed forums where people talked about flipping products and online stores. He didn't have money to risk, but he had time and stubbornness. And that turned out to be enough. At 17, he started flipping sneakers, used pairs he cleaned up and sold on Facebook Marketplace. First week, he made $120, then $400. Before long, he was doing better than most part-time jobs in his school. By the time he turned 18, Jayden had saved over $3,000, most of it hidden in an old shoebox under his bed. College wasn't on his radar. His grades were average and he didn't want debt. What he wanted was ownership. He sat down with his mom and told her, "Give me 1 year. If I don't make this work, I'll apply to college or get a job." His mom, tired, scared, but trusting, nodded. Jayden launched his first dropshipping business with that $3,000. It failed miserably. His ads didn't convert, the website barely worked, and the suppliers were unreliable. Within 2 months, he lost almost everything he had. He didn't quit. Instead, he sat on the edge of his bed and wrote down every mistake. Then he started over. This time, he focused on something different, building a brand around phone cases with unique designs, art that catered to college students and Gen Z culture. Memes, minimal aesthetics, pop culture references. He called it Snapskins. He built the site himself, stayed up nights tweaking every product page, and DM'd thousands of influencers until one finally replied. She posted about his case. The next day, Jayden made $580 in sales. That turned into $3,000 a week later. Then $10,000 by the end of the month. By the time he turned 20, Snapskins had generated over $100,000 in revenue. But Jayden wasn't done. He took those earnings and launched a digital marketing agency focusing on small businesses, local barbershops, bakeries, and yoga studios who had no idea how to use social media but desperately needed help after COVID hit. He reached out to them directly, cold emails, DMs, even walking into places with a pitch deck printed from the public library. One Denver-based coffee shop gave him a shot for $250 a month. He delivered. Boosted their online orders by 80% in 6 weeks. That success turned into referrals, and referrals turned into clients. By 21, Jayden Carter had a remote team across the US and Philippines, managing social media for over 50 clients. His agency grossed more than $300,000 that year. He upgraded his life, moved into a sleek apartment in Austin, Texas, bought his mom a brand new SUV, and set up a college savings account for his little sister. But the moment he talks about the most, Thanksgiving, last year. He went back to Bakersfield to visit family. Same neighborhood, same cracked sidewalks, but this time he pulled up in a silver Tesla. Inside, at the same kitchen table, sat Aunt Marlene. She barely recognized him. His confidence, the way he walked, the clothes, everything was different. She asked what he'd been up to, with that same dismissive tone she used years ago. Jayden smiled politely. I run a few businesses now, he said. She nodded, pretended to be impressed. He didn't bring up what she'd said, didn't need to. Because the truth was, she wasn't wrong back then, not entirely. He wasn't smart in the way school graded, he didn't have the resources others had, and yeah, he was a kid from nowhere. But what she missed was this. Jayden Carter wasn't built to follow, he was built to lead. And maybe most important of all, he wasn't dumb. He just hadn't been seen yet. Now I wish the story ended there. Clean and pretty, but it didn't. 6 months after hitting his first $1 million revenue goal, Jayden's agency hit a wall. One of his largest clients, an e-commerce clothing brand, went bankrupt and defaulted on a $38,000 invoice. Another client accused his team of missing deadlines, even though they hadn't. One by one, deals started falling through. It hit him hard. Revenue dropped by almost 40% in 1 quarter. He had to let go of 3 full-time employees. His savings, what he thought was a safety net, started drying up faster than expected. For the first time in 2 years, Jayden thought about quitting. He disappeared for a week, turned off his phone, didn't answer Slack or emails, just sat alone in his apartment, staring out at the Austin skyline. Then he thought of his mom, of that night in Bakersfield, of that voice saying, "You'll never earn a damn thing." That was the last time he allowed failure to be final. Jayden got back up. He restructured the agency. Instead of offering general services to everyone, he narrowed down to one niche: real estate professionals. He created systems, hired a new COO, and rebuilt trust with every client, one by one. By the end of that year, the business not only recovered, it doubled. And something changed in Jayden. He started speaking publicly, at schools, local business events, even on podcasts. Not just about money, but about failure, about identity, about being told you're not enough. He started a small scholarship fund for teens who want to start businesses instead of going the traditional college route. Called it the Not Dumb Grant. He mentors young founders now, kids like he used to be. He tells them, you don't need permission to succeed, you don't need approval to try, just prove it to yourself. The rest will follow. Today, at just 22 years old, Jayden Carter runs 2 thriving companies, is financially free, and spends his weekends volunteering at youth programs in underserved communities around Texas. But if you ask him what he's most proud of, it's not the money, not the Tesla, not even the Skyline apartment. It's that every time someone calls him a self-made millionaire, he smiles and says, "Not quite. I was made by the doubt. I was made by the no's. I was made by the people who said I couldn't." Then he adds, "And I'm still earning." Thank you for listening. We will back soon. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.